Oh, okay, I got it.
Hello. Welcome. Come on in. One of the things that makes this building actually very, very interesting is when you come into the building, I mean, if you take a look at the entry, the common areas, this is actually what is called in architecture brutalistic style. And brutalism basically is based on using the materials in its own natural expression without anything to embellish them or to change the pattern that they have. Zürich itself has a big story of brutalism. You will find a lot of buildings, a lot of architecture that is based in brutalism. If there's one area that I love about my apartment, I have to say it's just the entryway. It just gives me the sense of getting home. Like these panel woods for me just creates like a sense of this is my area, this is my space, and that was one of the things that made me decide to get this apartment. This is where I will spend more time myself when I'm not doing some work or when I'm not doing something specific. So this is the area that for me has to be very balanced. So actually it started with that lamp. I'm a photographer, it's one of my main hobbies. And this lamp for me is just like very iconic. For me, the color is very, very important. That was the concept for it. From there, it just started moving through all the space. First thing that I got, of course, it was the lamp. It came when I moved here, and then after that, it was a couch. Then after that, the second thing that I did was to get the carpet and also the coffee table. Now, the last thing that I got when all of this was ready, it was actually the chair. And one thing that I've learned is that when you're trying to create a space, you want to have an accent color that is going to balance it. And then that was actually the chair. That's made.com. I found it online. This is my reading area. So actually when I want to read my books, I have reading 2 novels right now. The next thing that I thought about getting, it was some decor for the walls. And then in West Wing, which is a fantastic website, I found like these climbers coming down. And I just fell in love with them. To be very honest, I thought that they were going to be smaller when I got them. So it was actually quite a surprise when I opened the box and I was like, oh my God, they're massive. I don't know, like it just gave me that sense of, I just put them there and suddenly everything started like really flowing. Now you can see that I have like a lot of little things here and there, and they all have a meaning. It's just places that I have lived. Like there are some things from Japan, for example. Like these ones are supposed to protect you from bad spirits. That's something that you always have like in the temples in Japan or also in houses. Then you have New York. I lived in New York for 6 years. Then you have, of course, I'm Mexican. I was born and raised in Mexico. And then you have two things that come actually from there, right? So just like showing a little bit of my history, a little bit of the places that I have been, how I have been flowing. So that's very important for me. So this is my office space. In reality, it's also supposed to be my guest room. I try to keep it very simple because when I started working from home, there was a situation that I faced, and I think everybody went through that, right? Suddenly you have work at home and you cannot disconnect from work. And one of my best friends in New York, he's a psychologist. He gave me 2 pointers. He said like, the space that you're going to use as an office, try not to have anything, as empty as possible. So you don't feel that there's something that is going to link you to that place. And the second thing is when you're done with the day, just change clothes. And I thought at the beginning, you know, it sounds kind of ridiculous, but actually it works. Now, of course, I had to get some color here, so that piece there is something that I really, really love. It's a photo in 3 panels, and it's just one of the best things that take my mind when I just feel like very stressed. An accent thing, of course, you always need to have something that creates an accent. So for me, it was red. You can see again, something that links back to my origins, to my roots. This is the main balcony. This is the Areal, as they call it in German. It's a beautiful area. It's actually quite quiet. It's very peaceful. After coming from Mexico City, living in Tokyo, Japan, living in New York, now coming to Switzerland, that was the first thing that I noticed. The first night that I spent in Switzerland, it was like so quiet and it's so nice. And here what I love about it is just how bright it is. Like everything is white, so obviously the countertop is white, and it just creates a sense of flow. So I love the countertop. It is chrome. It can be a little bit difficult to clean sometimes, I have to say that. If I could change something, probably it would be the countertop. How this room came together, the first thing, it was actually the lighting. And this lamp for me is just like something that will really bring your eyes immediately to it. During the day, it just creates like a shape of something of space that is floating around. And this is one of the pieces of art that I love. This is by David Paul Kay. He's an artist in New York. There are certain things that I brought from Mexico. So obviously these are very traditional cups that you use in Mexico for coffee or chocolate. This is just very traditional. So these are glasses that are shot glasses. And I love them just because it's, as you can see, has a cactus in the middle. It's very traditional, of course, from Mexico. The tequila comes from the agave, which is a cactus. And I just love this piece of glasses that I have here. So here we have also some storage area, which is fantastic. I mean, when you move to a new place, I guess you always want to think about where I'm going to put the stuff that I have, right? And this is where I have like the washing machine, the dryer machine, and then you have more storage area, which is actually fantastic. I guess something you don't know when you move to Switzerland is that in a lot of buildings you have to share the washing machine and the dryer machine, and you have to put the names and the times where you can use it. That was something new for me, but when I found this apartment, I knew that it was inside the unit. For me, that was a blessing. Same, I just try to keep it as clean as possible, open space with very, very small things where I try to balance again like the elements, right? So you have again some wood, you have some metal, you have some stones. One of the pieces that I love, again, Architecture, that's another store that I love, watch lamp charging station. So you can do it when you're reading at night, you can just dim it. You can put your phone here and it will be charging during the entire night when you're sleeping. So that's actually really, really convenient. So something that is crazy when you come to Switzerland is that you will hear that they are prepared for everything. And I mean everything. So literally, if there's a nuclear attack or there is an accident with a nuclear plant, they have sufficient space to provide safe refuge for everybody that lives in Switzerland, plus 10% of the population. You go in and inside they're going to have bathrooms, food, beds, absolutely all the infrastructure to hold the population safe if something is to go wrong. And these are the doors to the bunker area, but it's also used as a cellar. Cellars is an area where you're going to be able to put stuff that you don't want in your apartments. As you continue going through, what you're going to see is that it is very well protected, and this is the area exactly where you will expect it to come down if something is to go wrong. This is the heating unit that will be created here. It's also a filter of oxygen. So if something goes wrong inside here, this will be making the air a little bit cleaner when everybody's living into their own pots here. And this is how you escape the building. So behind this thing, you open it, you need a special thing, and then once that you open this thing, there's a corridor beneath here. It sounds like really like James Bond type of stuff, but you have a corridor that will take you through. Something else that is important to know, in the other side, they have an area where they store all the beds for the people in the building, and they are able to install them. They have bathrooms, there are shower rooms that are underneath here, and then you will be able to continue living as if nothing had happened, which sounds a little bit crazy, but honestly speaking, on the current situation that we have, it's not. And that's how a bunker looks in Switzerland. Well, my name is Josue Castro. I'm an IT professional. I work here in Zurich. I've been in Zurich now for 6 years. When I'm not working, I do photography. I studied photography actually in New York with a very known photographer, Greg Salvatore. He was my teacher. I started doing photography there, and then from the years on, I've just continued doing it, and it has started growing into perhaps a side business as of today, and I'm really enjoying it. Switzerland gives me the opportunity to travel to different cities, to different areas of Europe, and that has allowed me as well just to continue expanding the repertoire that I have for photography. Coming from the big city, from 3 different cities, like the massive cities of the world, right? I have to say it was very difficult to come to a very small area, but Zurich has its charm. It has everything that you need from a life perspective. But the thing that I really enjoy about being here is the quality of life. You don't realize when you're living in a big city how the stress impacts your day-to-day life. Nowadays, everything, I just realized that the pace of life moves in a different way. I like that it's in the center of Europe. I like that it has cultural offering, but I also love the fact that if I feel bored, I can just take a plane and I might be in 4 hours in Tel Aviv, in 2 hours in Barcelona, 2 hours in London, 1 hour and a half in Berlin. There's a lot of options. So really you have a lot of options to move out. If you really want that breath of life, you know, like a crazy thing, going, get away, and it's just idyllic from a view perspective. Also the mountains, the country itself is beautiful, and that's why Zurich is something that I really enjoy a lot.